Hello and welcome to this lesson on ratio and proportion, which comes up in chapter 5 of your maths textbooks and is in the section on what's called arithmetic, so number questions, real world problems basically. And we're talking about pages 101 to 104. And in this lesson we're going to deal with, like I said, ratio and proportion, and then we'll have other lessons for the other sections of that chapter. But let's start with ratio and proportions because it's a topic that can confuse people a lot, but really it can be very straightforward if we follow the 4 steps. So let's take a look at some sample questions that are actually in your book. And the first sample question is on page 103, and we'll start with question 16. And it says, the number of pages in a copybook increased from 48 to 60. If the price, which was previously €6, increased in the same ratio, what should the new price be? Okay. I'm going to show you the steps to follow because you can really apply these steps to every single one of these questions. And here they are written here. So let's look at step 1. It says write down the ratio. Okay. Now can you see the ratio from the actual question? The number of pages in a copybook increased from 48 to 60. Now that is the actual ratio code there. It goes from 48 to 60. So they've written it like that. So we need to write that down. That's the first thing we do. 48 pages is to 60 pages. There's our ratio. Okay, let's just highlight that in yellow so you can follow what I'm doing with the steps, same colors. Okay, step 2. Underneath, put the piece of information you've been given on the correct side with an X on the other side. Now, what does that mean? It says, if the price, which was previously €6, right, so am I going to write €6 here, or am I going to write €6 here? That's the question. Think about it now for a second. This is the old amount of pages in the copybook, and this is the new amount of pages in the copybook. This is the old price of the copybook or the magazine. So therefore, it has to go on this side. Okay, not over here. It has to go on the side that it corresponds to in the ratio. So €6 was the old price, and 48 was the old amount of pages, so those two should be on the same side. Now over here, look at the steps, you put an X on the other side, because we don't know what this is. This is what we don't know. So that's the side that we put an X on. So that's that step 2 done. Now step 3 is where we cross multiply. So we're going to multiply that up there, and we're going to multiply that up there. Okay? And in doing so, we're going to use an equal sign now. We're not going to use that little dot dot anymore. We're going to put an equal sign in the middle. X comes up to multiply by the 48, so we'll have 48 by X is equal to 60 by 6. Okay? And let's tidy that up a little bit. That means 48x is equal to 360. Okay, that's step 3. So far so good, I hope. Better get a fatter highlighter because it'll take me all day. There, step 3, we do it in green. And now finally, step 4, solve by dividing by the number in front of x. So we want to find out what x is, so we've got to get x on its own basically. So we're going to divide both sides by the number in front of x. Now 48 was in front of x. See it there? That's in front of x. So we got to divide this by 48, and we got to divide this by 48. It'll cancel there, and you'll just be left with x. And 360 divided by 48 is 7.5. Or in other words, the new copybook costs €7.50. Okay, let me zoom out there. So we better do that in blue just to help us remember what step we did. We just did step 4 there. That was step 4. And we have our answer. Okay, that wasn't too bad, was it? Let's try another one. Brass is made from copper and zinc in the ratio 5:3. Okay, so there are our ratio numbers. So step 1, remember, write down the ratio. The ratio is 5:3. That's step 1. Now, what's the actual question? This comes in 2 parts. Part I. If there are 6 kilograms of zinc, work out the weight of copper. Now this is where step 2 is very important, because it says underneath, put the piece of information you've been given. We've been given that it's 6 kilograms of zinc. This is what we're told in the question. So underneath one of these numbers, we'll have to write the number 6. The question is, underneath which one? So let's go back to our start here. It says, brass is made from copper and zinc in the ratio 5:3. That means the 5 belongs to the first word and the 3 belongs to the second word. So it's no harm to write that in. C for copper, Z for zinc. 5 is copper, 3 is zinc. Now we can look at the question again. If there are 6 kilograms of zinc, so where am I going to put my zinc? I'm going to put it down here, because that's the side that belongs to zinc. And over on the other side, I'm going to put an X. Okay, that's my step 2. And now step 3 is we cross multiply. Okay, so we cross multiply up and up, and we replace in the middle with an equals. So 5/6 over here, and 3/x over here, which means 30, because 5/6 is 30, is equal to 3x. And now we solve by dividing both sides by the number in front of x. So we're going to divide that by 3 and that by 3. It'll cancel over here, and you'll be left with 10 is equal to x. So what was the weight of copper? 10 kilograms. Okay, same thing here. What happens if you had 25 kilograms of copper this time? Work out the weight of zinc. Well, write down the ratio numbers. Remember, this is copper over here, and this is the zinc side over here. We've been given 25 kilograms of copper. That's the piece of information that we've been given here. So we're going to write 25 on the correct side, and over here this time we'll have the x. Cross multiply 5/x, and I replace the colon with an equal sign. 25/3, which means 5x is equal to 75. Divide both sides by that number that's in front of x. It means x is equal to 15. So how many kilograms of zinc? 15 kilograms of zinc were needed. Okay, see the way it's the same system every time? Now here's another question from the maths book, question 15 this time, on page 103, and it says, in the photograph, this is the question here, in the photograph, John's height is 5 centimeters and his sister's is 4 centimeters. John's actual height is 1.5 meters. What is his sister's height? Now there's an added little trick in this insofar as they give you one measurement in centimeters and then they give you another measurement in meters, and you should always remember that they need to be the same. Okay, we'll worry about that in a minute. First thing, write down the ratio numbers. What's the ratio numbers? 5 is to 4. Okay, 5 is to 4. 5 is John and 4 is his sister. So we'll just write S for sister. J for John, S for sister. There's John, obviously, and there's his sister. Looking well. Now, John's actual height is 1.5 meters. So underneath the J part, underneath this 5, but I don't want to write 1.5 because that's meters. I want to make sure that's in centimeters. So what's 1 meter? Well, it's 100 centimeters. So 1.5 meters would be 150 centimeters. That's better. And I don't know his sister's height. That's what the question is asking me for. So that's why I put in my X there. Now I cross multiply. This is step 3. Cross multiply. So I have 5 by X is equal to 4 by 150. Let me zoom in a little bit. So that means I'm going to need to divide. Well, no, before I divide, actually, I'm going to tidy that side up on the right hand side. It's going to be 4 is going to be 600. So that means divide both sides by the number in front of X to get rid of it. That's gone now, and I'm left with X on its own. And that goes into that. 20 by 6 is 120. So the sister's height is 120 centimeters. Okay, you're getting the swing of it now, because now it's time for you to try one. You can try and do this one. A petrol company carried out a fuel consumption test and found that the winter to summer ratio for the same car over the same track was 3.5 is to 4. So let me just help you out here by highlighting that in yellow, because there's our ratio numbers. 3.5 is to 4. Found that the winter to summer, remember, winter to summer, the winter consumption rate was 8.4 kilometers. Where are you going to write that? Is it going to be under the 3.5 or is it going to be under the 4? And they want you to find the summer consumption rate. So this is done using the exact same steps that we've been using for the other questions. So a nice idea now would be to pause the video, try and answer that question on your own, and when you've gotten some sort of an answer, press play and see if you get it right. Okay, pause it now. Okay, I'm going to continue on, so I hope you paused it and gave it a go yourself. Let's do step 1, write down the ratio. The ratio number is 3.5 is to 4. And it said winter to summer, so winter over here to summer over here. The words and the numbers are always the same order. So if this comes first, well then it relates to the first number. And if this number of this word came second, it relates to the second number. Okay? Now it says the winter consumption rate was 8.4. That means I'm not going to put 8.4 over here. No way. Because that would be in the wrong place. We're talking about the winter consumption rate. So 8.4 goes here. And over here goes an X. I don't know what it is. Cross multiply. So 3.5. And the X comes up to it. So X is equal to, so replace this with an equal sign, 8.4 by 4. That means 3.5x is equal to, what's that on the calculator? 33.6. I've got to divide both sides by the number in front of x. It cancels with that. And I'm left with x is equal to 9.6. Okay, so the winter one was 8.4 kilometers per litre. The summer one is 9.6 kilometers per litre. Okay, Well done.